Hello everybody and welcome to my video Getting Tidy. So I hope you're all well and I hope you have a lovely weekend. Here in England it's very sunny today. Now it's quite, the wind is a little bit cooler, but there have been a couple of times I've looked up into the sky with my eyes closed and thought, spring has sprung. Little bit of news in terms of followers. So I've got some more followers from Spain, so welcome to those people. The state that I couldn't pronounce was Illinois. I think I've pronounced that correctly. And the lady said to me about how many states in America were named by the English and French, but then there were some where the original names were kept from the American Indians, I'm guessing. Wow, that's so fascinating. I really wish that when I went to America, I wish I could get access and find out so much more about the American Indians and how they lived. They're sort of fascinating in terms of, you know, they were in touch with the earth and quite spiritual, it seems. We did go to a place when we went to San Francisco in 2010 and then Las Vegas, and we drove through the desert and we went to the Grand Canyon, and there was an area there, and also the Red Rock Canyon. There was an area there where there was like American Indian, family that was sort of showing how different crafts and different things were made. And we did get talking to a couple of people. Really fascinating. I really loved that holiday. It's interesting because everybody, like when people go to Las Vegas, obviously Las Vegas is like really busy, is really lots going on. We saw the Phantom of the Opera, which I've got to say, probably the best show I've ever been to. It was absolutely amazing. Even compared to the London shows that I've been to. We loved it. Las Vegas with the lights and like the little Venice and so on, I'm not so keen on. But the places that you can visit from that area are quite incredible. Now, we researched and we found this place that you could drive to that had Neolithic, or was it Paleolithic, handprints on the side, like red handprints on the side of all this rock and all these caves. So we drove there, and when we got there, there was not a single person. Nothing there. Now, I'm quite certain if this was England, they would have set up a tourist centre there. There would be some way, potentially, like there'd be a coffee shop. You probably have to pay to go in. But here, there was like no one there. And we'd gone from like the Strip in Las Vegas, which is packed, and all the casinos, which are packed. And I'm guessing that those people just aren't perhaps so interested in the other places in the nearby area. So, we found the location of these handprints, and we had to sort of crawl through this undergrowth and to get to it. And that did go through my mind, like, could there be scorpions here or could there be snakes here? But anyway, we went through all this sort of section and managed to get to the area and saw these handprints. Absolutely amazing. And the Grand Canyon, I think, unless you've been, you just cannot even imagine. You can't even, beforehand, I couldn't even imagine what it was like. Just so vast, just really, really quite incredible. And I think, to be honest, that was probably one of the first holidays that I went to where I realised there was so much to see in terms of scenery and landscapes. Up to that point, I'd always visited monuments, buildings, architecture. So yeah, that was a lovely holiday. Anyway, I ended up talking quite a lot about that. My point was that was the state that I couldn't pronounce. We've also got a couple of more people from Texas, another person from Florida, another person from Ohio, and another person from, I think it's west coast of Ireland. That's a beautiful area. I'd love to visit that part of Ireland. Not been that far. That part of Ireland. Concentrated really around Dublin, and went to sort of a place which is very similar to Stonehenge, where the sort of the ancient religions were, with lots of stone stones and circles and things. Fascinating. I love travelling. You probably guessed that. So this was Saturday. So the first part of the video was me just tidying up. I forgot to tell you that when I had that really long day on Thursday, don't you think sometimes men and women just have a very different use of language? Because when I got in, my husband had been back for 3 hours. And in that 3 hours, he did stories for my daughter and made sure my daughter was, settled at bedtime. He ate his dinner, which I had made, so he just had to heat that up and put some rice on. And he had to wash up. So when I got in at 10:30, I walked into the kitchen to hang my coat in the pantry, and all the washing up's there. And I kind of was not happy, you could probably imagine. So I said, right, okay, well, I thought I was going to sit down for a minute and have a glass of water. I better do the washing up. So he then jumped up, not happy about me saying that, and said, I'll do the washing up. So he ended up doing the washing up. I had a drink. We went up to bed, and he then said, I've done your washing up. I said, you've done my washing up. It's not my washing up. In the last few weeks, I've worked full-time hours and he works full-time hours. But I get touchy about that sort of language, but I decided to use that myself. So if I say to him, I've done your washing, I carried your washing upstairs, I've done your cleaning, he doesn't notice. He doesn't pick it up. So I think it's just me being a bit too touchy perhaps. And then this part you can see it's dark outside, and we were invited to go around to my brother-in-law's for something to eat. Only I was so busy, this last week, and I gave sort of very short notice. And obviously my daughter had the cough, etc., etc. So I felt like it'd just be easier for us to have some chips, as we often do on a Friday, and then go around afterwards. So my mum very kindly made my daughter this lovely chicken and vegetable soup because she hadn't been well. So chicken soup's good for the soul, don't they say? Very good for your health and gut bacteria. So my daughter had some of that, and she had some chips, and I had some chips and a pineapple fritter, and my husband had chips and some fish. And then we went round to my brother-in-law's. We'd taken his present and his cards and everything round on Wednesday for his birthday, and some of them Tuesday evening. I just bought another little present for him. I bought a business magazine that I thought he'd like. So we took that round as well. So that's really nice. We had some birthday cake. But I also wanted you to see here the state of this drawer, and just to ask your views on where would you even start. That's absolutely full, the junk drawer. So where would you even start with that? I'm really interested to hear your ideas. And then on to today. So this morning we didn't get up that early with it being Saturday. We had my daughter's Italian lesson this morning, which is a face-to-face one. So it's an English lady who speaks Italian, French, German. So this is the Italian lesson. So my daughter did some writing, some reading, and we went through her listening test that she'd been doing. Then we kept my husband, while I was there with my daughter, my husband got some bits from a different supermarket, Asda. They have done a new free from range. So my daughter was so excited when my husband picked us up, and he's got hot cross buns of all different flavours. So she's very excited about that. So I did some tidying up in the kitchen when I got back. My husband did lunch for us all. And then you'll be pleased to know, those of you that can't bear seeing washing hanging about in the house, it was so bright, I thought I'm going to be able to get my washing on the line. Today I'm not going to make the mistake of leaving it overnight, because the chances are it might rain overnight, because we're still very early for sort of spring type weather. But you can see the sky is quite blue, a few clouds, but not really that many. Over the other side the sun's shining very brightly through a blue sky. So I thought I'd get all my washing on the line and see how much of it I can get dry. I always turn my washing in the right way, and then when it's dry I can then fold it up, and that then gets taken upstairs. As I've told you before, I don't do any ironing at all. I can't remember the last time I used an iron. We only iron for things like weddings, funerals and interviews. Otherwise everything is stretched and folded. And actually, that's one of the things that my neighbour told me. My next door neighbour, she can be really nice sometimes, but she can also be a bit crazy. On one of the occasions that she was really nice, she looked over and said, "Oh, you're washing there. If you hang it on a coat hanger and give it a stretch, you won't have to do any ironing." And she's right. If you stretch a lot of things, you don't have to iron them. But I know many people will be pulling their hair out to hear that. I know people that iron socks, iron underwear, iron towels. Yeah, but anything that I don't know where on earth I'd have the time to iron. I used to when we were first married because I just thought, oh, that's what I had to do. And then my husband's manager, because he was in the forces, his manager said, "How did you iron that with a pebble?" And he came home and told me that. And I thought, okay, well, I've never had any ironing lessons and you have. So after that point, he then started ironing his shirts. So if he needs a shirt, like he had a black tie event the other day, he'll then iron it. And he does a good job ironing shirts, much, much better than what I do. And my daughter's uniform, I thought I was going to have to do a lot of ironing with that because it's like a pleated kilt. But I take it out of the washing machine and give it a shake. All the pleats just sit really nicely and then I dry it. Job done. Where my phone is sitting is actually very close to a bird's nest from last year. And I'm hoping that we might get some more nests this year. I do love it when you start seeing the little birds, particularly like finches, blue tits, coal tits. I love all those small birds. And like somebody mentioned to me, they love mealworms. So I might give some of the mealworms that I've got in my pots, if I can bear to do that. So, yeah, you can see how the sun is shining through. So I'm confident this is all going to be dry. I'll be able to put it in my linen basket. I'll be able to go upstairs. And my husband, my wife, oh my goodness, my husband, my wife, my daughter will be able to split it into 3 piles. And, yeah, we'll get that done much quicker than it's sort of sitting around like it sometimes does. So while I'm doing this, my daughter is doing some homework. So I say homework, it's not set as homework, it's just other things that she's got to do. So she has to do her bronze award, her silver award, her gold award and her platinum award for reading. So whereas like some children that I know gone to local schools, they have almost stopped reading, which seems such a shame. Even if my daughter actually loves reading, but even if she didn't, she's still got to read. Because you have to read 3 books for bronze, I think another 3 books for silver, another 3 for gold and so on. And you have to then do different activities. So she's had to do a character map, she's had to write a letter from one character to another character, she's had to draw a front page and do a blurb. So she's had to do quite a lot for that and it's taken quite some time. So this makes me laugh. So you can see how the phone fell off the shelf. I heard it and I thought, I hope it hasn't smashed, and I quickly ran over and picked it up, but it was fine. It fell into a bed of lily leaves, so all was well. And I am looking at, with the YouTube system, because of the number of followers that I've now got, I think I might have earned the grand sum of £5, £10. So what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping to save up to get a proper stand for my phone and have a light on it. So, you know, sometimes my videos can be a bit dark. So then those bits that I'm picking up there are my husband's. So he was painting some wall figures weeks ago and I put them all in a bag and put them in the understairs cupboard. He pulled them out of the understairs cupboard and put them on the floor. And then, you know, I got that bigger wicker basket for my dad, all those things my dad's bringing round. I thought, well, that's much better to put all the books in there. And I'm going to do what one of my followers said, which is just at the end of the day, say to your daughter, all your books need to go in the basket. So make that her job. So that will sort of help tidy up the table rather than her leaving everything out. And I think that's right, really, because at 11 years old, I had to clear up the table from the craft things, all the school things, even if I had to, you know, put it all in one pile. And then with the smaller basket, one of my followers yesterday said that pile of things that always sits by my feet where I sit in the lounge, why don't you put it in a little basket? And then at least everything would be together. So there tend to be bills, letters. I've got a magazine that I want to look at, a gardening magazine, to see what things I might want to grow. So yeah, so the smaller basket I've then taken into the lounge, and I'm going to put my bits in the basket, which I think is a super idea. So I also took the opportunity of when I pulled the basket out, just getting the dustbin and brush and just sweeping up around there to tidy it up. And actually, you know, I think I can probably take those items off the radiator. I think they're completely dry now. And that again makes things look clearer, doesn't it? I might get rid of one of those cheese plants. The one with the little teddy bear on the right there is looking a bit sad. I might either move it or I might see whether a friend would like it. I don't really need to. I do like plants. I can't put it in the front room because I bought a plant from a garden centre which has got mealybug. If anyone has ever come across mealybug, people will say if you have a plant with mealybug, you need to burn it because it just spreads like wildfire. By the time I realised what it was and took it back to the garden centre, the manager's attitude was just buy some spray. And I thought, well, I bought the plant at a reduced price. You know, I bought it like for £2 rather than £8. What was the point of then spending £5 for a spray? I might as well just bought a full price plant that had no disease. So I said, oh, no, thanks. I'd like my money back. And so he gave me my money back in the end. But at this point, I then realised the mealybug had spread to my other plants. So I lost all of my orchids, and some of my Hoyas have got it on them. And I've bought loads of sprays. I've tried loads of different methods. If anyone's got any tips, I very much welcome any thoughts and ideas as to how I could get the mealybug under control. It's a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, you'll see me take the basket into the lounge and just put my bits in the basket, which makes it look much tidier. It really does make a difference. So I'm pleased about that. I don't need to keep the basket, do I, at my feet? I can just put it like under the little glass table to one side. So my husband and daughter, while I'm recording this voiceover, have just popped to the supermarket to get the shopping. I can't go Monday morning like I always do because my husband needs the car to get into work. So Monday will be a full house day. Incredibly, my daughter loves going to the supermarket. She really enjoys it. So she's happily gone off to the supermarket with Daddy. So I decided that I'd do a little bit more in her bedroom because, you know, I've left all those books still need to be sorted out and put away. And so I am going to follow up one of the ideas of one of my followers about labelling the shelves to make it easier for my daughter to put the books back. So at the top are going to be more bedtime storybooks that me or my husband will read, or she might read, depending upon what time she's in bed. If she gets to bed and gets sorted a bit earlier, then she can sometimes have some quiet reading time, which she quite likes. But if she goes to bed later, there's not really much time for that. Then the second shelf down are all reading books that she needs to do for these reading awards. So that shelf I'll tidy up and sort out. So there are a couple that she's already read, but there are others that she hasn't yet read. So that just means they're all in one place so she can choose what she reads next. There's lots of reading books on that shelf that she can read for those awards. Then the third shelf down will be all Italian books, a couple of French books, and one Spanish book and her Spanish cards. So they will all be on one shelf. And then the bottom shelf is the shelf that really I would like to clear because I've got a rattan basket that I'd like to put in there. Then I can kind of fill it with more toys and put some of the books in the playroom. But at the moment I don't have space. So we managed to get about 8 books for the charity. A big pile of books which I'm going to put into the playroom, toy room. So that'll be good. There's a couple of like quizzes and like a French-English translation guide, which I thought could go downstairs with her French things. Now she's learning French at school. There's one book on the shelf that I found, The Greatest Women of All Time. Really, really good book. But I had a little read of it again. It used to be my sister's. I had a read of some of it, and it's not a child's book. It's not suitable for children. So I shall keep that on the bookshelf downstairs until she's a bit older. I really would have liked to have got rid of a few more books. There's 4 books that she wanted to keep hold of, but she wanted me to put them in storage. But I guess, 8 books. There's one book like David Walliams' book, and she said, no, I love that book, I'll read that again. And I said, but if you want to read it again, we can get it from the library. So she accepted that. And also I bought loads of Michael Morpurgo books second hand, but she doesn't really like them because they're all so sad. So she was happy to get rid of some of those. And there were some books that I'd bought second hand, which I just thought I liked the pictures of them. But we haven't got space. I mean, they were only like 10 pence each. I just got them to have them. They're probably a bit too young for her to read, and I just like the pictures, and that's just seems a bit silly. So I'd bought 8, and I think I've kept 1, 2. Yeah, I've kept 2, and the others can go to charity shop for somebody else to enjoy at the right age. So, like I said, I would have liked to have got rid of a few more books, but the fact that we're getting rid of some, the fact that I'm also getting rid of a few more in the playroom, so I'm creating some space there, pleases me. I will do another sort out before her birthday. Her birthday's not until August, but I have said if you don't get rid of more books and more toys, then you're not really going to get many birthday presents, and that usually does work. That spurs her on to want to get rid of some more, to create some space. I think it's quite good. Like some of the ideas that people have said to me, like with the keepsake boxes and so on, just have one box. And then you have to be like strict with yourself, and it's a little bit like with books, isn't it? I mean, each bookcase here, each shelf here, is maybe holding about 30 to 40 books. So we've got 4, 8, 12, 16, 160 books in that sort of one section, and then we've got more in the other room. I should think she's got about 300 books. She doesn't need that many, does she? And some of them were mine from when I was little, and some of them were my husband's from when he was little, but we just don't need that many. So yeah, I've said to there are a few that she said, I'll read once more and then I'll get rid of them. I thought, yeah, great, okay, happy with that. Yep, read it once more, enjoy it once more, and then get rid of it. And if you do want to read it again, you can get it from the library. So by the end of the video, I get most of those books back in the bookshelf, and I've got a big pile that I'm going to take through to the playroom. So that was a good job done while they were at the supermarket. So I hope you all have a lovely Saturday. I hope you enjoy your Sunday. For those of you in the United Kingdom, it's Mother's Day. If you are mothers, I hope you have a lovely day. I hope you do whatever you want to do. I think I was going to go out for a walk with my mum in the morning, but she said no, she doesn't want to do that. I think she's a bit worried herself about it being so cold, but also my daughter's cough. Obviously, if it's really bitterly cold, then I would have cancelled. So I think my mum suggested about coming around here in the morning. I might do breakfast for her or something like that. Get some croissants in. But then equally, I'm not that keen on having people round, even family members, when my house is untidy. And my house is still not to the level that I want it to be. I'm not sure whether it ever will be, if I'm honest. But, maybe 3 steps forward and 1 back is the way that I'm heading at the moment. So massive thank you for all your advice, your help and support, your ideas, your comments. Those of you that take time to tell me where you're from, to wish me well, to say hello. All your comments really mean a great deal to me. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. And if you're newly subscribed, please do have a look through my other videos. I know some of you have watched the others and kind of seen the journey that I've been on over the course of the last year. But I really started with more focus and more commitment in January of this year. So I hope you're all well, and thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you in the next video.